Good morning, students. So in this unit, as we have started with yesterday, or in your previous unit, what we have seen in the video about the basics of reproduction, what is the purpose of reproduction. In that topic, we discussed about the types of reproduction, sexual and asexual. And I have clearly explained about the differences between sexual and asexual reproduction. Now we are moving further to the unit human reproduction. Of course, in your syllabus in CBSE grade 12, you will be studying both plant reproduction and animal reproduction. So when you find in the textbook or when you go through the pages of a textbook, you will find animal reproduction as a term. Animal reproduction means human reproduction only, because in your syllabus in CBSE, you are not studying a particular or specific animal dissection or animal reproduction as such. So we have taken humans over here. So human reproduction, we are starting with this particular unit. So here we have human reproduction, and the system is being divided into male and female reproductive system. Of course, humans, the male and the female, the man and the woman. How the system, there are similarities a little bit, even in the case of the parts which are being associated, or how a function of the hormones, the sex hormones, how they function. There can be some similarities, but there are huge differences what we can see between male and female reproductive system. But we will go back to once again the definition of reproduction. What is it? It is a production of young ones by an organism, and humans are sexually reproducing and viviparous. Let me go to the first one. Reproduction is a production of young ones by an organism. We have already seen that in the previous unit or in the previous video. You have already seen where I told you that perpetuation, that's the right term that you have to use, or continuation of a species. So all the species in the world which are living thing has to produce their own child, an offspring, a young one, isn't it? So that is what you call reproduction. So human reproduction, irrespective of which animal, definitely humans are animals. So to produce a young one, that's the actual purpose of having reproductive system. Humans are sexually reproducing definitely, and viviparous. Viviparous word meaning, viviparous is opposite of oviparous. Oviparous means egg-laying animals. Birds lays egg. Reptiles, many of them lays eggs. Not all reptiles lays eggs. There are some reptiles which give birth to young ones directly, like a snake, viper. Viper is a snake which is viviparous. So viviparous word meaning directly giving birth to young ones. Otherwise it is oviparous. O-V-I. Oviparous means which gives birth through eggs or egg laying. So we are viviparous humans, and hence we have the reproductive system, male and female. So we will check on how human male reproductive system is being distributed and which are the parts and functions. So here is a schematic diagram that is being showing over here, showing the male reproductive system. And here we have a table defining each of the parts, and for your comfort, we have made it into internal genitalia or external genitalia. Now, genitalia comes from the word genitals. Genital means sex organs. So we have divided them into internal and external. Now, you will be wondering why we have divided them into internal and external. Internal means anatomical, those which we cannot see. They are lying inside our body, and how they are being differentiated through blood vessels, nerves and associated parts, glands which can produce hormones and everything. External genitalia means the things morphologically, what we see. How, for example, a baby is born. How a doctor, the first thing, isn't it? The first thing when we rush to the hospital, when you hear that some of your relatives, even if you're maybe your sister or your auntie or whoever is, cousin, somebody is being delivered, a baby, we all rush to the hospital and we want to see the baby. The first thing always any parent or any relative who reaches the hospital asks, is it a boy or a girl? Isn't it? That's the first question they ask. Is it a boy or a girl? And always when the nurse comes with the baby or the doctor comes with the baby and giving or handling it to the parent, they say it's a boy or it's a girl. We'll come to those topics where we have the sex determination in humans. So I'll be talking more about that. So how we are differentiating when a baby is being born into boy or a girl is because of the external genitals. So external genitals. So if a boy has penis, of course boys have penis. So the penis is actually the indicator or the external genitalia indicator for a human to be a male. If it is vagina, then it is a female or a girl child. So this is the major indicator of an external genital to differentiate between a man or a woman. Okay, first we go to the external genitalia, then I will explain about the internal genitalia. Before going into these functions, let us see the structure, how it is arranged. So I will take you to the picture, the anatomy of the system, then we will come back to this slide again. Okay, this is what we see, the internal arrangement or the anatomical detail of a male reproductive system. Don't get worried or be scared seeing about 18 to 21 parts that is being associated, that is fine. In CBSE, in your syllabus, so this is an overall picture where every particular syllabi of a particular student who is studying IGCSE, an IB student, or AIC or ICSE, ISC. So even the state syllabus, NCERT, all the science students, they all go through a similar anatomy. But depending on the syllabus, CBSE, you have some restrictions where what basic parts which you need to understand. Only you have to study that. So don't get worried or so concerned about so many parts you have to study. Don't like that. I am here to help you. So first of all, when we start with the external genitals, which are the external genitals, just now I told you about which are the parts which we can see outside, visibly in a human male. So we start with the penis definitely. So the penis is the organ which is not only for maleness. What is maleness? Maleness means something which makes a human a man. Okay, so that presence of the organ penis, that is not only how his body hormones or sex hormones function, that is also important. So that makes penis rich with the blood capillaries and nerve supply, because penis and associated scrotum, as you can see over here, which is carrying testis, are the most sensitive part in a man's body. So there is rich amount or abundant nerve supply, nervous system or nerve supply is being associated with the penis and the scrotum. Penis, another thing, not more functions, don't worry about that. Many of the functions on the question in CBSE exam won't be asked much. But I want to give you one more additional information about the human penis. It's a muscular organ, and inside through the muscular organ, it is externally covered by a prepuce, also called the foreskin. And some students previously they ask, sir, actually what is the function or what is the significance of having foreskin? A foreskin covering a penis. Foreskin is actually for protection. Any envelope or any covering of the penis is for protection. But like a process, some people ask, what is a circumcision? Circumcision means surgical removal of the foreskin. Why doctors are doing circumcision is not to have infection later on. Because how well maintained or how healthy or hygienic you are, still there is a chance of bacterial infection into the penis. It is not associated with urinary tract infection. UTI, I will tell you later in another chapter, that is different. That is urinary infection. Coming over here, the infection that leads to from bacteria, in order to protect that, foreskin needs to be removed by a surgery, a minor surgery called circumcision. Nothing much important over here. Then we have the next visible structure in male reproductive system, that is the scrotum. Scrotum is a connective tissue layer. So connective tissue means, of course, richly supplied again with blood capillaries or blood vessels or nerve supply. It is a scrotum which protects the testis. Now testis is in a pair. Pair means two. So two testes are there. situated on the right and left side of the penis. So right and the left side. So we have a pair of testes. Testis produces sperm. So that makes testis one of the major important top 5 parts in male reproductive system which you cannot forget, and you will get maximum number of questions regarding over here. So testis produces sperms and testis is protected by scrotum. Now you will get a question which I have seen frequently. Why is scrotum or testis is being produced in a male outside the body? Like in females, they have vagina and they have ovaries inside the body. Why can't it be in a man's body also being inside? Why it is coming outside? So the answer is that sperms are produced by testis, I told you. Sperms are very sensitive to high temperature. So, human body temperature is 37 degrees Celsius. You know that. More than that, when we get a fever, that is a little bit controlled environment, that is fine. But more than that body temperature or more than a particular temperature that is being given out by human body, or when we are exposed to, a human male is being exposed to high temperature, sperms will get killed. Sperm count will go down. So many factors are there which are associated with sperm production or failure of producing sperms. One of the reasons when we come to the topic of infertility or birth control measures, I will tell you more detail about that, symptoms, causes, and how it can be the remedial measures and everything about all. Overall, we call the birth control measures. We will talk about that. So, you got the idea why testis is being produced outside the body. It is to protect the produced sperms or the sperm production in a cool environment. You might have seen some of the medicines or tonic or syrup or something like that when we buy from hospitals or when we go to pharmacy, we buy these medicines and all. On the top of the label, it will be written, store in a cool, dry place. Isn't it? You have seen that. On top of the labels of the syrup and all those things, it will be written, store in a cool, dry place. Why? So syrups and tonics cannot be kept outside? No. When it comes in contact with sunlight, if it is coming in contact with the temperature, first of all, some medicines can turn into a poison. Some medicines cannot have any effect. Some medicines will have some partial or side effects that will be given to your body. So there is no purpose of that. You are inviting danger. That is why, isn't it? Have you seen anybody keeping medicines near to stove or gas cylinder or something like that? No. Nobody keeps any medicine in the kitchen itself, isn't it? Because kitchen is a place where cooking has been happening. There is a lot of temperature. So we keep medicines away in a cool, dry place. Same way, please imagine, please study that scrotum and testis are being protected away from human body or outside. It is hanging from the body in a male is only to protect the sperm from high temperature. Then we have not much external genitalia. When we go to the internal parts or internal, we have epididymis, and we have to study definitely about the glands, which we will be coming to. I will give you a more clustered notes or how to explain that about prostate gland, bulbourethral gland, also called the Cooper's gland, and we have the seminal vesicles. Very important, the seminal vesicles, which are over here. So seminal vesicles are lying very closely to the urinary bladder. They are very close. So, and out of these three, seminal vesicle, prostate gland, and Cooper's gland, seminal vesicle is the most important because seminal vesicle produces semen. Semen is a fluid or the liquid medium in which sperms are being mobilized or sperms move, they are being transferred. Prostate gland. Now, prostate gland is becoming in a lot of controversy these days in a man's body. The reason being, there are so many types of cancers we study, isn't it? And there are so many types of cancers we are aware of. For the last 10-15 years, prostate gland cancer in man is becoming too widely talked about or discussed issue. So what we have to do is that a man, when he crosses 55, 60, 65-year-old, Even though whatever symptoms is not been feeling, it's always better. A doctor advises to remove prostate gland from the body through a minor surgery. So if prostate gland is removed by a surgery, then there will be no risk of prostate gland cancer. I just told about the effect of not being associated with cancer, but otherwise, prostate gland, what does it do? There is a function of prostate glands. Prostate gland produces an alkaline medium. Again, same thing like how seminal vesicle produces semen, it's an alkaline medium that actually neutralizes the sperms and also affects or neutralizes the chemical effect or acidic effect produced when it reaches ovum. Because what's the purpose of reproduction? In the first unit, please revise and study that. What I told in the previous class was that fertilization is being affected. Fertilization means it's a fusion of male gamete and female gamete. So fertilization has to happen. Sperm has to meet ovum, isn't it? But ovum is a single large cell which produces an acidic, a chemical medium around it. Why? Why it is producing a medium like that or a boundary like that? We'll come to the structure. Just I'm explaining over here. Only one sperm affects fertilization. Out of the millions of sperms produced in ejaculation, only one sperm is required. Only one sperm is necessary to affect fertilization. The rest are all disintegrated or being removed or eliminated by this medium secreted by ovum. So, that particular chemical has to be neutralized by the alkaline medium produced by prostate gland. That is a function of prostate gland. Cooper's gland produces again a fluid that is rich in nutrients, that is rich in mineral sources for the growth of the sperm, movement of the sperm, nourishment. In total, we can call it as somebody who nurtures and nourishes while it grows and moves through the alkaline medium towards ovum. So these three glands has to be discussed, has to be studied carefully, but one pointer each, one sentence each function, that will be more than enough to explain seminal vesicle, prostate gland and Cooper's gland. We can definitely avoid ureter, urinary bladder, suspensory ligament, pubic symphysis, and also a little bit of things that are coming from the urinary system. That is not urethra. But definitely I have to mention about urethra over here. But otherwise, we can definitely remove ureter, urinary bladder and all those things because they are coming from which system? Excretory system. Okay. So when excretory system chapter is coming, I will deal more with these parts over there. Now, coming back to the testis, which I already been frozen for a bit because I want to discuss first glands and the hormones function or the secretions over there. Now we coming back to the testis. Testis contained inside structures called epididymis and seminiferous tubules. So seminiferous tubules and epididymis, which is coming in the anatomy of the testis, that we will coming in the later in the pages over here, we will discuss about that. Then spongious muscle, corpus spongiosum and all these things are not much discussed, or we don't need to go back into that particular picture again. But yes, over here we will discuss some of these functions which I already told you. Then we will go back to the anatomy of testis. First of all, function of testis has been given. One line, germ cell and hormone production. Germ cell. What is a germ cell? Don't think that germ cell, it is written over here, something is related to germs or pathogens or parasites. No, my dear. We are not talking about those germs. That is germs, pathogens. No. It is a germ cell. Germ cell means gamete, sperm or ovum. So here, testis, male reproductive system. So the gamete will be sperm. So sperm is what is mentioned over here by the word germ cell. Hormones are being produced. Which is a hormone produced by testis? Testosterone. If in a man's body, testosterone is not produced, means that is not a man. Because if a person is being born as a man, definitely there will be testosterones in the body. And testosterone gives you the features of a man. Whether it is hair, beard, mustache, the voice, the high-pitched voice, the muscular body, the stature, the tall, the height, aggressive nature, aggression. What all things a man possesses as a cliche, all these characteristics are because of one and only hormone, testosterone. Second thing, epididymis is a reservoir for sperm. Epididymis is a reservoir for sperm. Reservoir means what? Somebody who can store sperm. So epididymis is actually meant for storage facility. Just like urinary bladder stores urine for some time. Isn't it? You have already studied urinary bladder and excretory system in grade 9 or 10. So, the same way, how the sperms which are produced. So, don't think that whenever sperm is being produced by cell division inside testis, it is being liberated out. Wrong. That is not the thing. Sperm is produced for fertilization. It has a purpose. Only that time it is being required. Otherwise, it will be stored inside a structure called epididymis. Then we have duct deferens, or we also call it as vas deferens. Vas deferens, or also called sperm duct. So, here, ductus deferens or vas deferens. So, if I write ductus is being given name because it produces duct. Now, if any student don't know the meaning of duct I will tell you, duct is also called a sac or a cavity. A duct can be a sac or a cavity. Now, some students write sac. Sir, sac spelling is S-A-C-K, no? Then why are you writing S-A-C? No, sac means, we are not discussing about that sack where you store some grains or wheat or cereals or grapes or fruits or something like that. We are not talking about that sack. It is biological word, SAC. Function is same, storing or a cavity. Okay. So that is why the word ductus came over there. But there is another name for ductus deferens. We call it as, I told you, vas deferens. Vas deferens or also called sperm duct. Vas deferens also called sperm duct. What is the function? The sperms which are produced from testis is being transferred to urethra. Urethra is the one finally who expel out the sperm during ejaculation or during fertilization. So we need somebody who transmit the sperm from testis to urethra. Who is doing that? Vas deferens or sperm duct. So testis, as I told you, I will write over here, germ cell. When you get the term germ cell, you think about gamete. Germ cell, also called gamete. Hormone production. Which is a hormone I just now told? Testosterone. It doesn't have any other name. Some of the hormones have other names. One or two names will be there. Common name, biological name. But here we have only one, what is called testosterone. So testosterone or the hormone, sex hormone in males or man, that's produced by testis. Epididymis, simple, is just stores sperm, reservoir of sperm. Ductus deferens, also called vas deferens or sperm duct. Now, the three accessory sex glands. Now, when you find the term accessory in a textbook, accessory, don't think that it is something big. What is the meaning of accessory? Accessory means secondary, secretary. Who is secretary? Somebody who assists, isn't it? A director, assistant director. So like that. Accessory means somebody who assists, secondary. But don't think that they are not important just because they are assistant. They are important. They assist. Without the, like in one class, I have told you about biotic and abiotic factors. Biotic factors means we, living. We cannot live without abiotic, isn't it? Non-living things are also important. Same way, we cannot take away their role. Accessory sex glands, they are important. Which are the accessory sex glands? Already I told you. Prostate, seminal vesicles, and bulbourethral gland, also called Cooper's gland. They all involved in some or the other secretions will later form semen. So semen production is very important. So semen means what? Now, production of secretions altogether collectively coming under semen. So semen means what? This is very important. So semen is a collection of entire secretions that is being produced by prostate gland, seminal vesicles, bulbourethral gland, also called Cooper's gland. Together the secretions are called semen. So semen means all secretions plus sperm. This is important. All the secretions by these glands plus sperm has to be there. Then it will become semen. So when in the case of infertility or a man is incapable or not capable of producing a child, what the doctors or an infertility clinic, what they ask for is go for a semen test. They have to do a semen test. So semen has to be submitted over there. They will test and they will find what is the problem with this person, why he cannot give a child. Same thing in a woman. Sometimes a woman cannot conceive a child. What are the reasons were the definite? So we will come to that, those topic of birth control measures at that time. I will tell you more about this. So here, if they want to extract the sperm, it is always from the semen. External genitalia, already I discussed about penis, urethra and scrotum. So nothing much or big or any confusing topic over there to remember. So this is the explanation or how you have to mention the external and internal genitalia of a male reproductive system.